Emoh is two words spelled backwards. It says our home. And Emoh is a project that's been going on for the past 20 years. A backyard it's a shack that is basically hidden within existing house, where you get a backyard and a front yard and an in-between upstairs yard.
I lived in Menenberg all my life, and we didn't have access to the main house. So if they weren't there and you wanted to do your number two, you had to do it in the bucket system.
Within Emoh, we have people coming from the backyarders and people that's coming from the rental houses.
I rented for about 12 years. I'm on and off with jobs, and most of the time you're so depressed because when it comes to the end of the month, you gotta sell something if you're not working for that month. If I skip my payment, he won't have mercy. If you don't pay a double payment next month, and then he's gonna chuck you out of the house. That happened to me a lot.
This project actually came through savings, but the actual purpose for savings is actually to change your lifestyle. That brought families together to become one big family. So in 1999, because of the savings, land was purchased for this community. And everybody was excited, we're gonna have our own homes and dignity will be restored.
At that point, there was a lot of active politics around people building their own houses, showing that they could build a superior product to the RDP house.
They wanted to build themselves the RDP, where most of the money goes to the developer. And we will get a small house, but if we build it ourselves, we will get a bigger house in much quicker time and a much better price.
The key moment in Emoh was when people came onto site and built a house over the weekend.
We started on the Wednesday and we finished off on the Monday. When the council offices open up, we received some visitors with the bulldozers and the army and the police to demolish the house because it was illegal.
They showed that they could build a house themselves. The space for negotiation with the city was opened.
The city's involvement was to be the accounts administrator to the project. Funds were made available by province, and we as the city were there to administer that funding in such a way that it was paid out at the correct time to the correct people.
And then a bombshell hit. Even though plans were approved and things were going, the surrounding residents said, but not in our backyard.
We were concerned about the traffic. We were concerned about the social impact it's going to have on our community.
They thought we were drug lords, we were gangsters, we were people that come from shacks, and we don't know how to be civil.
If one person different moves into your neighborhood and you don't get to know that person, you're gonna have your own perception of what they are like, but you're not gonna know how they are from the inside.
We never said no to the housing. We know that there's a need for housing. It was just the density.
The infrastructure started to be installed. We started to get moving with the process. Everything sort of was in place. Work was undertaken, and during the course of that, the approval lapsed. Simultaneously, you have a very active Colorado Park Ratepayers Association. So a lot of anger and misunderstanding around the project, and a political leader who was very much on the side of the Ratepayers Association. And at that time, the project was slapped with a cease works order.
The councillor sided with them, and then the project just stopped. There was this fear as well by saying, now our land is standing here, it's going to be invaded by other people, and the members had to walk away. And I think it was one of the saddest moments.
This is all relates to something that we would call the NIMBY factor, the not in my backyard factor. It's the same reason that wealthy people in Constantia don't want low-income housing in their area. Why is the political motivation for the city to reduce the size of the project, the density of the project? Why is it to favour the Ratepayers Association above backyarders? Why were those processes so difficult? Why were they weighted not in favour of Emoh, but actually against it?
Pep put in the business plan once again. Getting the approval from the city, it was the biggest challenge because remember, people didn't have buy-in and they didn't feel like continuing this process again. Once that approval was there, that was the biggest breakthrough. So we had this long list of the city, and one of the criteria was to build a boundary wall. And I thought, now I'm losing all hope because this boundary wall cost around 280,000 Rand. And that cost was on the community.
You know, the amount of hurdles and hoops the community had to jump through. How do you work within a city that might, at a political level, say it's very pro-poor, but when you get into the nitty-gritty, into the bureaucracy, into the electrical department, into the roads department, why are the rules so difficult to navigate for poor people or for delivering an end goal, which is actually housing and dignity for backyarders in this case?
I think one of the biggest challenges for the city, with this being a project that was started by province and then handed over to the city, it had to fit into our budget cycles, which is a difficult thing. So it was a process that had to be gone through, and therefore that took time and it was time that was against the project, really.
When the builders and contractors moved in to make the trenching of the houses, it was a tremendous feeling that the houses will be built shortly and that the people will be moving in.
What were the key aspects of getting this project to where it needed to be was basically, firstly, uniting communities, getting their savings schemes going, making sure they have all the proper information, and making sure they take responsibility and ownership for the project. The relationship and the involvement with the city was around getting services and so on going. It was a challenge because even the city thought this project wasn't going to happen.
We are governed by the Municipal Finance Management Act, and we cannot work outside of that act at all. It certainly keeps us to timelines that perhaps would have been beneficial not to have had those restricted timelines in place.
One must understand the rules of the city because ultimately somebody needs to be held accountable for them. So the rules and regulations are there for a reason. There was support for this project, there was involvement in this project, and without them we couldn't have done it. I just wish there'd been a paradigm of future vision in the project to say, like, what can we do here a little bit different than how we've done before.
The uniqueness of this project is quite amazing. It was started by the people themselves. It's not something that we would ordinarily be involved in. What would be important is to keep an open dialogue from the very beginning of the project right the way through. As for the city, there is to develop and we are, I believe, developing a culture of listening and being innovative in the way that we are able to help communities with a scheme like this one.
You don't overcome challenges in one big political swoop. You overcome them sort of step by step, but you have to be realistic and you have to be pragmatic and you have to compromise. It's a project accepting that you have to build a boundary wall. You accept that you're only going to get your stock standard type of RDP house because that's the only type that the subsidy will cover and that the costs allow for. The dream was always to build double-story houses here, but that wasn't feasible within the subsidy quantum.
The first people that move in or open up the door could never ever believe what they received, and it was worth it for me.
For me, living in this new house is like, I can't even express my feeling because I have my own key, I can open my own door, my children is free. When I wake up, there's water. I can put on my light, there's electricity.
Coming here, it's so peaceful. You know, I never knew peace felt this good. The quietness is so different. I actually had to adapt. So whatever happens here is what we create, you know? But there we didn't have a choice. So I think that for us is a major change.
Owning my own home is the best thing on earth. I've never owned my own. I'm married now for 23 years. And when I proposed to my wife, I told her, don't worry, we're gonna live with my parents for 1 year. And I promise you, baby, after that, I'm gonna set you up into your own house. Well, after 23 years, I could say it took a bit of time, but finally I have my own house.
To put your children into a house, it's one of the biggest steps you can take. What will happen to them tomorrow if you are not around there?
Because none of us actually owned our own houses before. And it's an amazing feeling. It's indescribable actually.
As an alliance, we build people to build communities. We want to bridge the gap between communities and government, and this is by us opening doors and saying, government, can you come and help us? Can we engage with each other? Can we support and complement each other so that we can actually get upgrading or developments done? So for us, it's how do we work together? How do we unite? How do we build meaningful partnerships so that we are able to go to scale? I think that's the fundamental part, because communities are ready. The question is government really ready to work with us?
Maybe the city should actually bring people in here to come see what we have achieved and what we have done here. The city can only win.